here at the show that brings together the growth potential of Web3 digital assets while meeting conventional financial regulatory standards. So let's find out what all that means. Delighted to have with us the CEO of a company called Devency, Sophie Lau. Welcome into Tomorrow, sir. How are you?
Hello, Dave. I'm good. I'm good. Very good.
Yes, as we're doing this interview, one more day left of the show, so we're all almost winding down because there's a lot of talking, and as our audience knows with my voice, what little of it is left. Lot of interviews, a lot of discussion.
I can imagine, Dave.
And networking for people like you guys
You're
as
doing
exhibitors, and it's what we do at a trade show, right? It's what you got to do. So first, out of the box, for those who may not understand, what is Web3 before we get into what you guys are doing?
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually, because everybody's talking about Web3 all the time, and you heard a lot about that Web3, but people don't really know what it is. So what it is basically is a technology that's based on blockchain, and it's actually the sequel of Web 2, right? Naturally.
one would assume.
Okay, the main difference, the reason why we're talking about Web 3 is you used to have Web 1, which is like, pretty much the beginning of it, the internet.
The initial internet as we know it.
So that it's the birth of the cyberspace, if you will, Web 1. So not very interactive, very informative, but not so much interactive. Web 2 is the era where big corporations like Google, Apple, those guys provide services on top of the web. But if you take a look at Web 2, it's a kind of a thing that is not good for the users because they are collecting data from the users for their corporate use.
Yeah.
Which is no good, basically. So
no,
Web3,
none of us like that, even though we know it goes on. We've been saying for many years on our show, no such thing as privacy
anymore. see, even your phone, your best mates.
Yeah.
Keep sending information to Google as to where you are, what you're up to, etc. Right? So we don't want to have this no more, right? We want privacy. We want to be our full ownership of our own data, and this is a promise of Web3.
Gotcha. And of course, then finance comes into the picture more so because of Web3 and what you guys are doing, right? That's important.
Yeah, well, finance is actually running on Web 2 right now. Even the banks, the traditional banks,
right.
And that's all the same story. Even for your money doesn't belong to you, basically. You just have to send it to the bank, and technically, it belongs to the bank.
Yeah, and they use our money for other things, their loans and whatever, and to make more money.
Correct. So you don't own your money, basically. Web 3 does the same thing. Finance built on top of Web 3 promises to give you full ownership of your own money. Money happens to be not just fiat currencies, not just US dollars, euros, etc. But now you have the possibility to own tokens. Obviously, that's part of the blockchain game. But then some of it, like Bitcoin, can be a currency. So it can be a vehicle for you, or a synonym of your money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what it's all about. Finance, and by the way, finance is at the heart of the economy as well. So that's why it's so important that decent finance, can be built on top of Web3. And what we do at Devency is we provide what we call sustainable financial services. Sustainable financial services means that you may use services that will not kill the planet for the sake of progress, because it's not so much energy intensive, not as much as the traditional banking system, for example. So this is our promise, is to make sure that you're running finance on top of Web3 and to make the world a better place.
Gotcha. Okay, well, it sounds very cool, but I like your motto as well, transitioning to Web3 for good.
Right. That's what I'm telling you. The thing is, we know, because we're not just dreamers. Okay, we're not. We really are pragmatic people, knowing that Web 2 is not going to happen overnight. Okay, so that's why even on our platform we have something called a CeFi DeFi aggregator, which is a centralized/decentralized finance aggregator.
Oh, that makes it real clear. What does that mean?
It is. So I told you about Web 2, right? So Web 3 is not going to happen just like that.
Okay.
So
it's
we
a-
want to
it's a
transition.
progress.
Right,
Yeah.
that's a progress. So in order to do that, pragmatically, you would need to still get connected to the traditional financial system and those centralized platform. And this is for the sake of pushing the funds progressively to the realm of Web3.
Gotcha. And obviously, you want more information about what Davensi is doing, DAVENSI.com. What does it mean, real quick? Is there some.
It's actually, it sounds like Da Vinci, right?
Yeah.
So it's on purpose. It's a tribute to the great Leonardo.
Oh.
Because
okay.
it requires a lot of ingenuity and intelligence to win in the Web3 space. This is what I'm saying all the time.
Okay, but instead of Da Vinci, it's Davensi.
Da Vinci. The reason why it's Da Vinci, I'm originally from China, from Hong Kong, and the way you say Da Vinci, I mean the great Leonardo, is Da Wenxi. So it really, I mean it's the more correct way to translate it from China.
Oh, very cool. Well, we'll get you to their site too when you visit us at intotomorrow.com. I thank you for spending a few minutes
Thank
with
you,
us here.
Dave.
And now you get the massage chair.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Thank you so much, Dave.
It's our pleasure. Stay tuned. Much more to come from the Human Touch exhibit here in Las Vegas. I'm Dave Graveline. Into Tomorrow continues right here on the Advanced Media Network.